XRP could be on the cusp of a significant breakout for some pretty lucrative gains. In today's video, I am going to be jumping into the technical analysis on XRP, sharing my thoughts as to kind of what I think is going on with the price action on the small, medium, and longer time frames. As I get into today's video, smash that like button if you're new, subscribe, and let's jump into the charts. We're going to kick things off here with XRP paired up with USDT on the 1 hour Binance chart. This is something we've been tracking for a while. We were looking, and still technically are, I guess, for this range of 57.34 to 57.97. Okay, we were looking for this. However, we have found good support at the moment on the 50 EMA and the 50 SMA, the blue and yellow line coming through the charts here. Okay, so this is actually potentially going to see a bit of a break to the upside, I think, and that actually is going to ideally void this idea down here. Okay, so let me show you why I think this. We had a good surge to the upside on the 1300 hour UTC Wednesday to the 1900 hour UTC Wednesday. That was a good move to the upside, and since then we've just kind of ranged sideways. We saw a little bit of a liquidity grab here on the 23rd of August at the 0200, but for the most part, to me, it's looking like we are trying to track just a bit higher here for the price action, heading out more towards the 60 to 61 cent range. Okay, so yeah, it's kind of, I think, got that little bit more of a push to the upside onto this downward trend line that you can kind of see here potentially, and then kind of get rejected from there. The stochastic RSI is in an interesting spot on this 1 hour time frame as well, can go in both directions, so it's not going to give us terribly too much intel. Smart money concepts, if we turn this on, here we can see that we are in some negative or actually in a bullish structure at the moment on a micro time frame, so that's lower than the 1 hour here, and yeah, at the moment we have a strong high, weak, low situation, I believe. Sorry, a strong low and weak high. So we can potentially see a bit of a run here for XRP. So we'll be hopeful for that. I do think the next potential move is to the upside, at least on the 1 hour time frame. And again, we're going to be talking about those kind of high 60s. So 60.9 upwards towards kind of that 61.2 in that kind of range, I think, and that's going to kind of coincide with our downward trend line. So I do think the next move is to the upside briefly before we continue this move to the downside, because I do think that is something that is likely to happen as well. If I zoom out of here just a little bit, you can see that it's a triangular wedge pattern that is kind of forming, and we are still looking for that move to the downside. Okay, so XRP, I guess the message I've kind of been talking about for a while is expect more volatility. I don't think we're necessarily done just yet. If we roll this up into our daily time frame, here we can see the bigger macro picture and why we are looking for a break to the upside. But I'm also quite concerned over the current structures here. We can see that the market is gaining less and less traction into this little particular area over the last 4 days, right? We can see the candles are very undecided. They can't decide whether, or at least the market can't decide to push up or push down. Okay, so it is a very interesting time for XRP's price action. We have the downward trend line. It's consistently being resistance, and so on our kind of daily time frame, yeah, it's likely to see a rejection. Our stochastic on the weekly and on the daily are overbought as well. So again, we are going to be looking for a market shift to the downside. Now, as I said in the previous video, I am still looking for 51 to 52 cent to be the area that holds. If not, we are talking about moving down to 47 cents on this other triangular wedge that we've got going on right inside here. This is a corrective pattern, and we are looking for a breakout to the 75 to 85 cents. Okay, that is still very much valid. That's exactly what we're looking for. That hasn't changed over the last few days. Smart money concepts here is showing us right inside the fair value gap. If we move down to the equilibrium, that is going to basically be in line with my expectations around 51 cents. That would also be completing the fair value gap, this green area here on the charts. We are in a bullish structure, okay, and a new push higher towards 75 cents will give us a break of structure in here as well, which will essentially be a confirmation of our bullish trend. So we were going to be looking for that closed position up here at some point in the future. It's not going to happen right away, but smart money concepts is kind of telling you that's kind of the expectation, filling out the fair value gap and then kind of continuing this run. So yeah, 75 to 85 cents is the targeted range, as I spoke about in the previous video, on this kind of medium time frame. This will probably take a few weeks, maybe, somewhere like kind of 4 to 6 weeks maybe, but it's hard to kind of gauge time. But that's the expectation. The expectation is to move 75 to 85 cents on XRP's price action. Okay, so there's a lot to be kind of hopeful on, a lot to kind of be thinking about in the future for the price action. So yeah, it's looking like it's going to see some volatility, specifically as we get rejected here initially from our downward trend line. Okay, stochastic RSIs, as I said, overbought, but it still can push up a little bit more before it reverses. We're only just up in this overbought area, so it's not terribly too concerning. Turn that off, bring on the relative strength index, and here you can see that we are just above that mid level. So again, momentum can shift in both directions. There's no divergences being noted here at the moment, so again, we don't have to worry or be concerned about those at the moment either. Our volume profiles are interesting. Obviously, as we've had this little push here up into resistance, those volumes have really come down very aggressively. As you can kind of see just down in this lower range, select the right door, just down here, you can see volumes are really decreasing as we're up in that resistance area. Okay, so again, it's showing us that there's weakness within the price action, and our expectations should be that price action cools it off a little bit. Like I say, 51 to 52 cent is kind of what I'm looking for. Roll it up into a weekly, so the bigger macro picture. Realistically speaking, all we've really done for a very long time is bounce between the high levels of 66 to 75 cents and the low level of accumulation between 33.46 and 46.16. And that remains very much the story as it is today. And we are basically bouncing between the these kind of lower ranges, or the higher ranges here, and the low ranges. And I don't think that's going to change until we kind of can see everything that's going on with the SEC and Ripple as to whether or not the case will completely conclude, or that's they're going to take the 60-day, the SEC, and really drag their heels and basically just make it as really painful as possible for Ripple, which is also a possibility, right? So we want to be very mindful that, you know, whilst all that uncertainty is going on, we are just ranging in a sideways market. Love a breakout, that would obviously put an end to it, but for now we're not really seeing that. But yeah, there's still good progression here nonetheless. Now, obviously, our targets for kind of 2025, we are heading out, in my opinion, after that SEC case is kind of put to bed. 559 to 1125 is my kind of conservative. Possible that we're running up higher, but that's kind of where I'm looking at right now on the kind of weekly time frame, the macro time frame for XRP's price action. So yeah, otherwise, you know, for the most part, not a lot has kind of changed over the last kind of few days. For XRP's price action, still kind of stuck in the same kind of ranges, but it does present itself with some opportunities for going long and going short, should we be able to kind of get confirmations on a few candles. Now, I'm going to finish this video off there. If you have found it useful and informative, smash the like button. If you're new, subscribe, and check out this channel just over here where I go through more Cardano technical analysis every single day.